Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trenton 365. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. You can always reach me via email, Trenton365show@gmail.com. And the 365 are the numbers, Trenton365show@gmail.com. Shout out to WIMG 1300 as well as WPHY, who'll be broadcasting this. But you can also see other features and things that I'm doing on the YouTube page, Trenton365, and to follow music in particular on the Trenton 365 Performing Arts page on Facebook. Now, this next person I'm bringing to the microphone or to the screen, well, is a young man that has been doing some amazing things in the music industry, has performed with numerous different people, has been, I don't want to throw any names out, we'll let him do that. But when he comes on, he's going to be talking to you not only about himself and his music, but he's going to be joined by his manager and his father who shares the same namesake. So I'm going to be joining with Lil Asmar and Big Asmar, and they're going to be talking about music. They're going to be talking about what they're up to, and most importantly, how not only the Trenton 365 community, but others can support this independent effort by a son and his father and other community members. This man is doing some amazing things, and his son is a phenomenal talent and wonderful people and human beings. Welcome to Trenton 365, Lil Asmar and Big Asmar. Hello to you both.
How you doing?
All right, it's good. So Big Asmar is in the back on the drums, and I know you guys were rehearsing, so I really appreciate the fact that we can get together and do it in this type of a segment. Why don't we do a little intro, Lil Asmar? Why don't you run some bass lines, maybe some well-known ones into something a little more obscure that you're into for like a minute or so, just so we can get an idea about Lil Asmar.
Okay.
No one else could see me grooving over here, but I know you saw me getting down, Asmar. So I know for the most part, most folks will have, they should have known and heard about you. I mean, you have been a prodigy for many, many years. And again, you've played with numerous names in the music industry and have even toyed and been with things on television, et cetera. Let's go back to the early days. When did you first realize that, hey, Dad, I want to play bass?
Well, it started when I was 7 years old when I went to go ask him. And, I wanted to ask him, can he teach me how to play the bass? Because, I thought it would be fun and everything. So, that's how it started. So I was in my room, and he was in his room practicing his bass. And, I decided to walk in there and ask him, can he teach me how to play the bass? And he started laughing because at the time, the bass was bigger than me, and I was only 7. So then he said, if I buy you a bass, would you practice every day? And then I said, yes.
And since the practicing every day, you are now known with lots of different titles, such as I think the best 14-year-old bass player in the country. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So obviously that gives you opportunities to meet several different people. Who are you currently circling, with and doing things with in the industry?
Bootsy Collins.
So talk about what you're doing with Bootsy.
Bootsy, I'm, we've been doing a lot together. I've been on tour with him, been at the NAM convention before, COVID was happening and everything. And we stayed connected.
Mhm. And when you talk about the likes of Bootsy Collins, I know that Victor Wooten is someone else that you've appeared in videos with him and so forth. Who else? I don't want to say are influences because I think that you're beyond not necessarily having influences, but you're considered a peer almost to a lot of people in the bass music playing scene. So just who are you, vibing with now besides Bootsy and maybe even some potential projects coming out?
Well, I love, my inspiration and everything that I always watch is Victor Wooten. He was, well, to me, it's Uncle Victor Wooten. I've played with him lots of times, met him a lot of times. We just still going, staying connected and everything, telling us things what to do and everything like that, and just, being supportive.
That's fantastic. And
And I have
when
a
we
show
talk
coming out
about, I'm sorry.
on Wonderama. And I have a show coming out soon on Wonderama.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we get into talking about that in the future. I want to bring your father back into this. Big Asmar, um, the scene here, for example, for a lot of performing artists right now is kind of tough, because of COVID, et cetera. And, being a father, son team, also being the management of it. Like, can you just talk about how the COVID has impacted you all and what some folks could learn about the business side of music?
Wow. Well, COVID, it stopped everything. We're not on the road. We was always going, flying, train, limo, somewhere. But because of COVID, it stopped everything. It's no more, performing out, around, a big crowd of people. So it definitely affected the income status, you know. But God allowed other things to happen as well, where we started out from the internet, you know, so it put us right back to where we started from, the internet, and we lost people, in COVID, my stepmoms, my auntie, it's crazy. One of the guys that the studio we were going to, he just passed away from COVID. I didn't even know the guy was in the hospital. I just found this out like a week ago. I'm like, wow, like it's real deep. You just gotta stay protected, bro. But it affected all of us, all the musicians. Because
Asmar, little Asmar, big Asmar, it makes me think about COVID in a different way. Because you just mentioned the studio, the person who owns the studio, they're no longer with us, right?
yeah,
But what about all the emotions involved that are going on with the COVID, the folks who didn't believe it, the folks who did believe it, the politicizing of it. Could you imagine what kind of art and music is going to come out of this time? I can't wait to see and hear what is going to be coming down the pipe. Lil Asmar, like I said, you had mentioned before in the past during our conversations of, some influences. Is there any particular type of music that is something that you're really, really latched onto right now?
Well, to me, I love all kinds of music. It can be jazz, it can be blues, it can be whatever.
Mhm. And I'm glad you mentioned jazz as well, because that's where I first got a chance to meet y'all via Regis Entertainment. Shout out to all the guys over there as well, James, Eric, Jean. And we're going to be getting stuff going soon, hopefully with that, and get you all an opportunity to come perform for us again. Now, Asmar, you've done some projects where, I've seen videos of you playing with some of your peers, some other, youth musicians, etc. Talk about what's going on with that and how that all came about.
Well, I mean, right now it's just going amazing. We're still going and everything. I also have an album out, and that's going great. I got some big names on there, guitar players. We got Don Gagnon, and we got a lot of amazing other people on there too.
Mhm. And in addition to the album, there's live streams and things that people can find you and follow you on a regular basis, correct?
Oh yes, and I mean, for my for the internet, you can get me at www.lilasmar.com.
Awesome. Littleasmar.com. Would you both be interested in playing a little bit more for me and just vibing out? I think people need to hear more of your playing via Trenton 365. You guys want to do that for a couple more minutes?
Yes.
yeah.
All right, cool. Lil Asmar, you want to set it up and let the audience know what you're going to be doing?
Yes. Okay. So the song we're about to play is off my album and it's called Lil Asmar Detroit Remix.
Oh man, thank you. Oh man, that's just the joy. Do you want to play something else?
Yeah, sure.
And while they get it set up, folks, you're listening and watching the Trenton 365 show. This is an impromptu performance by Lil Asmar or Lil Asmar. Make sure that you follow him at LILASMAR underscore. They're going to take it away here now for a bit.
So the next song we're about to play is Got to Be Real by Shura Lynn, but we're gonna play my version of it.
Oh man. Well, again, I am always delighted to see and hear live music. But I am, a big fan of you all since we had met. Big Asmar. So we've got this amazing talent here, your son. You're also managing
Uh-huh.
him, etc. And it's got to feel really good And, you know, as someone who's seen him for a few years now, well done. And,
Thank
you
you.
know, thank you for sharing him with us and with me in particular. This is just amazing. And I know that in our conversations, you always make it very clear that there's a spiritual element to this. And that's a foundation to you. If you'd like to elaborate and share some about that, I'd love for you, for everyone else to hear what you'd like to share.
I tell everybody, um, God ordained this.
Mm.
That's number one. He sent my son to me just for me to teach him. You know, in a lot of interviews, I tell people, Asmar came to me and said, "Dad, could you teach me how to play the bass?" I said, "Yeah." He got in the car. As I'm driving down this highway, I hear the voice of God say, "You move over. I'm going to take it from here." And this is where we at with this. God has been amazingly wonderful to us. Things have happened that beyond me. I know it wasn't me, and it's because I was humble, I was obedient, and God allowed these things to happen. I tell everybody all the time, this ain't my work. I'm just following what God got me doing. I'm in a journey, and He's there, and I let Asmar know that he definitely got a gift from God. I taught him how to play. He beyond me now. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm serious, bro. Like he play all this everything down here in the studio. He play everything, everything. Upright bass, everything. Violin. This boy do everything, and it's God blessed him with. He gave him something beyond me.
You know, I always look at, you know, the opportunities that I have and try to look at them in a bigger scope, right? And the people that I meet, the talented folks, um, and then knowing that, man, all these wonderful, talented people that I get a chance to meet, how come more people don't support that, especially on a local level? And I know I don't have any answers, but I have this willingness to want to connect so many of these talented people, like your son, like both of you. I mean, both of you are amazing together. I want to be able to help. So I know there's others out there who would like to be able to help, whether it's small gigs, backyard neighborhood gigs, whatever. I know you're a star, so I know it's difficult to say, okay, you know, to do this gig or to do that gig. But how can the average person be supportive of the Lil Asmar movement?
Um, a lot of different things. One is just pay attention to him. You know, that means a lot to me. Acknowledge that, and he don't say this, but I can say it. But I didn't start this. NBC, CBS, Fox, UPN, all of those stations have declared my son from age 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, now 14, that he's the baddest bassist his age in the world. And this is my thing. If that's so the case, I feel we need to really push that. It's not every day. You, that's a big title. That's a real powerful word. A statement coming from major television networks.
Mhm.
For them to say this kid is the best in the world, his age, that's powerful, right? But um, music frees the soul, but the bass is the bottom core of music. Everybody don't know how to accept it if you follow what I'm saying. People can hear him. When my son do shows, people when they see the stuff he can do, they're blown completely away. But when it's in the moment, when they see it, right? But they try to figure out, wow, what did I just see? But that's as far as it go. You get what I'm saying?
Yep, I get it. I get it exactly. And part of, I said it to you in conversations, in private. I'm just going to say it again in public. There's no reason why your talented son should not be everywhere. And there's enough influence locally, enough connections locally, enough people locally to make this happen. And when I say locally, I'm talking just New Jersey, and beyond. So I want to make sure that we continue to have the conversation and figure out what kind of conversations do we need to start, what kind of connections need to be made so that this talented young man, your son, can get opportunities that other people have, especially since he's been anointed this by other people in positions of authority and power. So let's follow up with that. Um, we've got about 6-7 minutes to go. I
One
would
more
love.
thing.
Okay.
Even Phil Murphy, our governor, right?
Oh boy.
Couple months before he became governor, he was at one of the events. We have it on the wall, him and my son. We've been trying to connect with him ever since because we're from New Jersey and
Mm-hmm.
we carry New Jersey on our back. We've been to 16 different states, and we've been around the country with him. And we haven't gotten one acknowledgement, bro, since we met him when Asmar was what, 8, 9, something like that. And it's just, like, wow, we right here in New Jersey. And for us to have a kid from New Jersey as the best in the world, I think the governor should acknowledge that.
Well, I'm gonna say that I think that the governor should, and I think as someone who's considered one of the highest ranking officials in the state, I think it's part of their office's duty to do that, especially since you are a resident of New Jersey or was from New Jersey, et cetera, and he's an elected official. And I think that goes into another conversation about civics. But I see what is happening right now and the musically talented and gifted young man that we have here in front of us, that hey, he's a medium to start those conversations. Would things be different if your name wasn't Asmar? Or
Hmm.
would things be different if you were from a different background or culture?
And
I don't know. And maybe there's some of the conversations that we ought to think about having, going forward, and the crossroads between how those things intersect. And when I
and
say
to this
that,
day,
well, hang on, Asmar. I'm going to give you all, we're going to roll through the time. Don't worry about it.
okay,
If you got the time, if
yeah,
you're good with the time, we'll just roll. All right.
yeah.
Um, So where this intersects, musically gifted, talented performing arts is all part of the how society operates. We all need all of these things, whether or not people think they like art and performing art. If there was no performing art, they absolutely would miss it, right? But when we think about that as a civic model, we have to think about where is this equality coming from? Meaning, if you are as talented as you have been told to be, then those opportunities naturally should exist. And it's only natural to then question if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm instructed to do, that I'm not doing anything against the law, whatever. I have a right to ask these questions, especially if you're the one who's telling me and controlling where I'm trying to go. And I think that's part of this the civic part that I think a lot of folks don't understand. And I think that now is the time to have those hard conversations. Everyone is talking about equality and Black Lives Matter. Well, it's got to be more than just saying something. It has to be more than that. If we know that there are inequities, then let's just fix them, acknowledge them, and let's fix them. We're human beings. That's what we're supposed to do. Like you said, you passed on the seed to your son, who's a better musician than you are. That's what we're supposed to do. And hopefully he'll have offspring and he'll be able to do the same with them. You had some stuff you wanted to show me
I was
or
gonna
show
tell you,
us.
these receipts, right? He's been in 8 magazines, online, handheld, right? And when you look at a magazine, right, what's the two things you remember? the front, right? And then the back, right? Then you got the complete
Centerfold.
centerfold, right? That's just one. Then you got one of the top rated magazines in the world, Bass Player Magazine, right? And then you look at the front, and then you look at the back, and there he go again, right? And that's him and Doug Wimbash. Remember the
Living
that's him
color.
and him on that cover,
Yeah.
right? Then you go to Bass Deftones, right? And same thing, straight centerfold, and like I said, if everybody's saying this, that he is the best in the world and all of this stuff, right? It's just it's different. It's different. Trust me. We've been on this journey for 7 years. I've seen a lot already. And at the end of the day, this is my son too. So not just I'm his dad, his dadager, manager. I'm his father. And my job is to make sure that he does the right thing in this world, right? And because of my past and the history that I had growing up, right? The one thing I got in his brain, what's in my son's brain? Watch this. What's the one thing I told you you'll never ever get?
A state number
And what's the state number?
to go to jail.
You understand where I'm coming from, bruh? I planted that in his brain, you know, because that's where we're heading with this. You know, um, I was a problem child. I did 16 years in the system. Sometimes I think that's a hindrance that I say that, because I say that on everything because this is the thing too. People take your mishaps and try to bring them back to life down that road. Listen, it's no secret that yes, before my children was born, yeah, I was a bad boy. I sure was, you know, but this is the work of God. God allowed me to start having my children because I wasn't like my friends. My friends, they would have kids. Some of my friends, they wouldn't claim them. They wouldn't care. I was different. I started having my kids and I felt love in my heart for my kids. And as I'm going in and out, I'm missing my at the time he wasn't even born, my daughters. And right then and there, I was done. I was done. You know, and been done. And I like right now, bro. Sometimes not since the COVID, but before that, I was going out to detention centers and I was speaking to the youth and I was speaking to gang members. You know, because sometimes you get caught up in stuff and don't realize you're caught up in it until something happened, and it's because of your environment of where you live at. I was a product of that too. I was from Parkside Projects, and we did everything under the sun. Like I said, I did 16 years, for all kinds of stuff. And as I went through all that, I as well. See, the thing is, when you get
Oh, you know
older,
what? Hang on, hang on. Big Asmar, I really want to do this, and I think that's a whole nother show that I think that we can do. Um, After we're done with this, let's set that up immediately and we'll get you back into the studio next week. But let's
okay,
roll into finishing up with at least one more song. I think we got about a few minutes left on this, like maybe 4 minutes or so.
Okay.
While you're getting set up there, folks, and I want to make sure that everyone realizes that I have to apologize for some of the things just because of the technology, and I would have loved to have heard the rest of the testimony from Big Asmar about his passion for social justice, his time being incarcerated, and the love that he has for his son, and to make sure that his son will never get a state number, meaning he will never be incarcerated. Lil Asmar is about to take us out with Big Asmar, his father, on the drums. And as we do that and the time runs out, folks, I'm going to do the closing portion here. We'll just let the music take us all the way out. Friends who are listening and watching the Trenton 365 show, you can reach me via email, trenton365show@gmail.com. And make sure you check out the Trenton 365 Performing Arts page on Facebook. And remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility. Lil Asmar, it's on you.
You remember the Daz band back in the day?
Yes.
You got an extra minute.
You got an extra minute?
I'm gonna give you something.
It's just gonna run. It's gonna stop recording.
If you got an extra minute, I'm gonna give you something real special. Okay?
Well, it will. The recording is gonna stop. It's on time. It's on a time limit. We got about 4 minutes, but I'll stay on and talk to you afterward. Just go ahead and play, if you don't mind.
Jaden. You sleep? Oh.
Lil Asmar, thank you all very much. Thank you for being a guest on the Trenton 365 show. We'll be sharing more of your information soon. Again, folks, Jacque Howard here from Trenton 365. Remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.